spot, bringing stats like a kingpin. MMA knowledge needs his nephews all lean in. Breaking down fights, codes that daddy's supreme on. Just a tip show, he's cooking up a dream. Uncle Weezy, he the man. Dropping fight facts, got it all on hand. He the stat attack grand. MMA guru, more than just a fan. Wanna know the numbers? Weezy got them cataloged. From the fighters reach down to how many times they dog. Just a tip living, breaking it down slick. Hit you with the knowledge, won't miss a single trick. Uncle Weezy, he the man. Dropping fight facts, got it all on hand. He the stat attack grand. MMA guru, more than just a fan. Those deep predictions, he be making those calls. Getting in the details, opponents feeling small. From jazz to takedowns, got the whole fight ID. Uncle Weezy spitting truth, no lie, keep it G. Blow the horn, blow the horn. Stat Daddy Weezy not showing no scorn. Fight Night Kingdom, he wearing the crown. Break it down for the peeps, never looking like a clown.
Oh, yes. What's going on, everybody? It is Friday afternoon. I'm a little bit late with my free content this week, but the NFL just started up this week. You know, summer's ending. Labor Day is over. We're getting into that time of year where the weather starts to get a little bit colder. Went for a little matinee movie viewing with my girlfriend today. And yeah, last night I actually stayed up and watched the whole Cowboys Eagles game, rain delay and all. So like I was figuring I was maybe going to do a show last night for you guys, but got home a lot later than I thought I would. So figured I'd just get it out of the way today for you guys real quick here. So wanted to stop in, do a full card breakdown for you on this UFC Paris card, do a dog pick of the week, Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week, and a Greasy 4-leg parlay with some meat on the bone. And then we're going to talk to the audience, see what you guys are up to, see what you guys are thinking for this card. It's a great card. I'm excited for this. I like it whenever they go to Paris. Paris has got great fans, great MMA fans over there. They you know, any place where it just became legal, you see how the local populace kind of interacts with the sport. And in Paris, they do it upright, man. So I'm really looking forward to breaking down this card with you guys. I will share my screen with you here and go through all these picks. I saw some good names here. We got David Lembas in the room. We got Brandon in the room saying, "Oi, what is up?" We got the Canna Chef in here. We got Vinny Diaz. We got my guy Brady DFS by the numbers in here. Jacob Cole in the room. One of my Greek brothers, Theosadis Castellanis, in the room saying, "Let's go. I thought we weren't getting one this week." You are. I was thinking maybe I wouldn't, but, you know, I did because, you know, sometimes the social life gets in the way, and I'm a little bit tired after I do all my content for my Odd Shopper people, because I've already done 4 hours worth of content that you guys haven't seen this week. But my guy Roger Base Afflicted, he has seen it because he's part of the Odd Shopper community. We got Truth Hurts in the room. What is up here? We got Jacob saying tricky card. Achromatic in the room. Canna Chef Chris. Oi, Canada stand up. We got X in the room saying, "Oi, what is up, dude?" We got Sammy Malcolm in the room. We got Good Timing. I was studying the fights live. There we go. My guy Paku, all the way from New Zealand, I believe, saying, "Sure, Weezy, 1 a.m. start for the Aussies. Doesn't matter what time. We just love fights. Can't wait." Yeah, you guys always have to stay up a little bit later than everybody else does. And I know this one's going to be an early one for us Americans this Saturday. I think we're going to start sometime early afternoon. But I'm really looking forward to this card. And Sammy's saying, "I have some good takes. I hope we're somewhat aligned." Me too, my man. Jeff K, what is up, Chicago guy? Good to see you hanging out in here. Chin Check saying, "Oi, let's go. Let's get smash some bets." We got Double Vision MMA 365 saying, "Weezy about to get busy. Let's get it, man." David, good to see you hanging out in here. All right, Arya in the room. Good to see you, Arya. Let's get right to it. We got first fight of the night, Sam Page Hughes versus Shauna Bannon. So we got Sam as a pretty big favorite here, sitting around minus 300. And I just want to let you guys know this is the first time that Sam Hughes has ever been priced as a favorite in a UFC fight. If I bring up here, I'll show you guys what I do for my odds shopper people. One of the things that I look at when we do Balls Deep breakdowns, which is the full card breakdown that I do every week for my Odds Shopper members. And the link to the Odds Shopper community is in the description of this video. Where is Bannon Hughes? There we go. One of the slides on the presentation that I do for this show is the betting line information here. And we have this on every fighter on the card. And it tells you what their UFC record is, what their average betting line is, and what their return on investment is over their UFC fights. And you can see that Sam Hughes is 5-5 in the UFC, but she's got a 39.6% return on investment. And that's because she's never been priced as a favorite. So all 10 of her fights with an average line of plus 228, she's got a return on investment, if you've been backing her in every fight, of 40%, which is excellent. But the problem is that Sam's never been priced as a favorite before. And she's never really even looked minus 300 in a fight, maybe outside of the Elise Reed fight. I think that this is going to be somewhat close. I think Sam's better than Shauna everywhere. I think she's better in the clinch. I think she probably is the better striker, but that kind of still remains to be seen because Shauna's got a little bit of a tricky traditional martial arts style to her striking. And I definitely know that Sam Hughes is going to be the better offensive and defensive wrestler and probably have the better ground game here. So I like Sam. I like her to win by decision, but we got to keep in mind that the trends are very important and the pricing of prior fights is very important when we learn how to try to determine value in these betting markets. And Sam Hughes is always being priced as an underdog. And when we look at the fight write-ups as well, I mean, actually, I don't have that in there. Where is my sheet? I also keep the betting lines for all the fights in the spreadsheets that go out to people every week. So Sam Hughes here, if you were to scroll all the way to the right side, past all the stats, you get the betting line information here. And you know, the cheapest that she's ever, or I mean, the most expensive that she's ever been priced was plus 115. And that would have been the Elise Reed fight, I think. It was the Elise Reed fight. And that was the fight where she actually looked the best. But she's got 5 wins. One of them is a ground and pound knockout in round 3. There was the Estela Nunez fight, which was a majority decision. The Stephanie Luciano fight was a split decision. The Dudakova fight was a split decision. And the Amarim fight was a unanimous decision where Jacqueline adrenaline dumped after round 1. So Sam Hughes is not the kind of fighter that's going to probably pay off a minus 300 fight price tag. So even though I'm picking her to win this fight by decision, I would recommend that you probably just stay away from this fight, or it's probably dog or pass on the money line here. The next fight, Andreas Gustafsson against Rinat Fakhretdinov. This line's moving a little bit, and there's some money coming in on the Gustafsson side. I'm picking Rinat here. Big strength to schedule advantage on the Rinat side, and Gustafsson is somebody who's going to fight in a phone booth, but Rinat Fakhretdinov has excellent wrestling. So I think it's going to come down to who is able to control the pace and the location of the fight. And this fight is not going to take place for long at distance striking range because Gustafsson walks forward like Michael Myers with a machete. And once he gets a hold of you, he kind of gets an overhook and he'll push you back to the cage, and then he'll start with his clinch work. And that's how he fights. He's not going to really stand at distance striking range with you. He will wrestle offensively against poor wrestlers, but Rinat Fakhretdinov is a very good wrestler, and he's got a lot of power on the feet as well. So I think that Fakhretdinov might be landing the more damaging shots while this fight is in the center of the cage. And I believe that he might be able to get some takedowns and some top time against Gustafsson. But this is a fight where I am going with some trends here. This is another situation. If we were to look at the betting line information for this fight, for Fakhretdinov, let me see here. There it is. Gustafsson, Fakhretdinov here, and we go to the betting line information. You're going to see that Fakhretdinov is 5-0-1 in the UFC with a 46% ROI, and he's never been priced as an underdog. So it's another guy that the market has been backing consistently, and he's never lost at the UFC level. And now we're getting him as an underdog after Gustafsson, just got a pretty impressive win over Chaos Williams. But to be fair, I think Rinat Fakhretdinov would probably beat Chaos Williams as well. So I feel like this is some short-term positive recency bias on the Gustafsson line compared to some short-term negative recency bias on the Fakhretdinov side that has kind of fueled this change in pricing for the recent fights of both guys to where there is some value on that Fakhretdinov side. There is a wrestling advantage on the Fakhretdinov side. I think there might even be a power advantage while the fight is standing at distance striking range on the Fakhretdinov side. And there's a strength of schedule advantage and pro experience and UFC experience advantages there as well. So I do think Fakhretdinov wins this fight by a very close decision, but I am not confident about who wins this fight. I have no bets on this fight. I can't wait to see Andreas Gustafsson fight again, though. I'm a big fan of this guy, even though he just kind of is a clinch merchant. I love the way that he forces the fight, that he grinds on people. I think his style is going to be very difficult for a lot of UFC fighters, but this is a big step up in competition in only his second UFC fight. So I am going to go with Fakhretdinov and Fakhretdinov by decision for this one. The next fight, Brad Tavares versus Robert Bryczek. And this is a pretty easy fight to break down, in my opinion, because Brad Tavares is somebody that's been a minute winner at the UFC level. He's not really finishing guys. Robert Bryczek is a guy who's not much of a minute winner because he's kind of low volume, but he's a boxer, and he's a very, very powerful boxer at that. So Brad Tavares has been knocked out in 5 of his 8 UFC losses. Robert Bryczek has a ton of first-round knockout wins on his resume. So I feel like this is either going to be an early knockout for Bryczek, or Tavares is going to wear on him, land a bunch of calf kicks, and just outclass him at distance striking range. I don't really see either of these guys having much grappling upside in this fight. If there was any, it would be on the Tavares side. But I'm picking Tavares. I'm picking him to win by decision. But I don't think Robert Bryczek by KO is a bad bet at all when I look at my betting model for that fight. You see a guy in Bryczek who has 10 wins by knockout as a professional. Out of his 11 finish wins, 10 of them are knockouts. And we've seen Tavares be knocked out in 5 of his 9 losses. So the knockout prop for Bryczek at plus 440, because the guy's never really been a minute winner. I think he's only been to decision maybe 2 or 3 times in his entire pro career. Or no, that's not right. I apologize. That's incorrect. Bryczek has been to a decision a few times. He's 5-4 to the decision, but he's 11-1 to the knockout and 1-1 to the sub. So he is somebody that on the regional scene is doing an okay job of winning minutes, and that's not good enough. I mean, if you're losing minutes to Ihor Potieria at the UFC level, it's a big red flag. So Brad Tavares is taking a massive step down in competition, in level of competition here, and Robert Bryczek is taking a step up from Ihor Potieria to a 26 fight veteran in UFC veteran, I should say, in Brad Tavares since the year 2010. My spreadsheet only has after 2013, and that is 21 fights with a 12-9 record. So, yeah, I think Tavares is the much better suited to win minutes in this fight, and he's just got to avoid the big shot from Bryczek. And if he's able to do that, I think he wins the minutes, banks the rounds, and wins this fight by decision. Next fight. Sam Patterson versus Trey Waters. Sam's a minus 186 favorite. Trey Waters sitting around plus 161. Fight doesn't go to decision here, sitting at minus 250 for this fight. I'm picking Trey Waters here. The problem that I have with Patterson is I think he's a very good fighter, and I need to see more of him. I was surprised by the last performance, very surprised, because most cappers, including myself, were saying, yeah, I mean, either Patterson takes down Borralho has success on the mat and finishes him there, or Borralho's probably going to knock this dude out, right? And Patterson shot 0 takedowns. He was getting pieced up on the feet, but then he landed a couple of big shots. He got Borralho on skates, and he fucking knocked him out. So a very impressive performance from Sam Patterson. But we got to remind ourselves that is coming off of a career-best performance here. Trey Waters, I believe, is going to be the much better striker. I think he's just way cleaner at distance striking range. I love the way that he counters. He uses his length well. But what he really does is he kind of keeps that right hand up by his chin, and he kind of baits you in. He likes to throw that right hand over the jab of his opponents. And when you come in and initiate against Waters, he's very good at countering. I think he's going to find a knockout here over Patterson. I just think that Sam Patterson is entirely too hittable at distance striking range. And I also believe that Patterson is just not much of an offensive wrestler. I was a little bit troubled by the fact that he shot 0 takedowns against Danny Borralho. Now, obviously, he didn't need to. And it was very impressive that he was able to go out there and knock out Danny Borralho without having to take him down. But Trey Waters is going to be tricky to take down because of his height, because of his length. I think Sam Patterson can have success with the leg kicks, the calf kicks in particular, and with some cage pushing here. But I don't know that he's going to be able to outland Trey Waters in the clinch. Remember, most of Sam Patterson's career has taken place down at 155 pounds, while Trey Waters is a massive welterweight. So I think the physicality of Waters here is going to make a difference. I think he's going to be the cleaner striker and the minute and moment winner at distance striking range here. And I don't have a lot of faith in Sam Patterson's ability to be able to get this fight to the mat. So I'm picking the upset here. I'm going with Trey Waters, and because both of Sam Patterson's career losses have been by knockout, I'm going to pick Waters to win this one by knockout in round number 2. The Fernandez versus Harry Hardwick fight, I don't have a pick for. I didn't research it. I don't do picks on fights that are made on fight week. It's not really, it's just a high variance, thrown together fight at the last minute. Kawe was dealing with a much different opponent. You go from a very technical, clean, and defensively responsible kickboxer in Fares Zayam, who's tall and long for the division, to a short, volume monster, pace monster in Harry Hardwick. Fernandez is getting a completely different opponent than what he was training for. And Harry Hardwick's getting off the couch here and taking a fight on 3 days' notice, which is extremely irresponsible. But when the UFC comes calling and that's your goal to get into the UFC, you're going to make irresponsible, dumbass moves and take fights that you shouldn't take because it's going to get you into the UFC. So in situations like that, as a capper, I want nothing to do with picking the fight because I might as well throw darts at a board or flip coins because I don't care about this fight. It was made on fight week. Neither of these guys were training for each other. The variance is going to be fucking through the roof here. I want nothing to do with it. I won't be betting it. I won't be breaking it down. I won't be doing shit. And Hardwick was around plus 145. I think Fernandez is sitting closer to minus 200 now. The next fight, Marcin Tybura versus Ante Delija. I don't know about this fight, you guys. This is one of those fights that I think the market has got it very right. I believe this should be very close to a pick'em. But I want to go with the Tybura side. I think the Tybura side is the right side to pick because he's been fighting in the major leagues while Ante Delija has been fighting at AAA. And there's a big fucking difference. We see it all the time. PFL guys coming here, Bellator guys coming here. How many fighters lose their UFC debut? UFC debut jitters are a real thing. Stepping up to the major leagues is a real thing. These guys have fought before. Ante Delija broke his leg on a low leg kick that Marcin Tybura checked. You could see the bone sticking out through the fucking skin. It was disgusting. So Delia's lost to Tybura before, but the fight never really got started. But if you go and you watch that fight, they look to be pretty well matched, in my opinion. But I think Tybura is going to be the better offensive and defensive wrestler here. I think that if he gets into top position against Delija, it's going to be a big problem for Ante. And while the fight is on the feet, I think Tybura is pretty good. I mean, I think Delija, without question, I don't think anybody would really disagree that Delija is the far more dangerous striker. If there's one guy that's going to find a knockout on the feet here, it's going to be Ante Delija. But when this fight gets into the clinch, when this fight goes to the ground, if it does, I think that Tybura is going to have a much bigger, well, maybe not in the clinch because Delija does have very good judo, but Tybura on the mat is just a real problem to deal with. When he gets into top position, his ground and pound is nasty. His control is nasty. And he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt who can find submissions as well. But he really does prefer to just go with that ground and pound and hurt his opponents. And that's why we don't see Tybura winning by submission very often in the UFC. It's almost always knockouts, and those knockouts are coming on the ground from the ground and pound position. So, yeah, Delija is the younger guy. I think he's the more dangerous striker wherever this fight, whether it's in the clinch or whether it's at distance striking range. But I think that Tybura is probably going to find some takedowns here. And while it's on the feet, I don't think Delia's got a big advantage. I think he's the more powerful guy. He'll probably be landing the more eye-catching strikes. But I think Tybura's got better kicks and better range management. This is a close fight, but I think the responsible pick is Marcin Tybura because, like I say, 20-some-odd fights at the UFC level. Let's check it out. How many? 22 fights at the UFC level and a very impressive 14-8 record, while Ante Delija is losing to, guys like Kapaloza, guys like Valentin Moldavsky, guys like Marcin Tybura. But that was a fight that never really got started, like I said. So anyway, I'm going with Tybura. I'm going with him to win by decision here. The next fight is Omar Sy versus Bryczek Ribeiro. Omar Sy's a -500 favorite after being priced as a -900 favorite in his last fight when he dropped the ball and lost to Alonzo Menafield. I think Omar Sy's one of the most talented prospects right now, not just in the light heavyweight division, but in any division in the UFC. He's got rare size and physicality for this division. 84-inch reach, one of the longest reaches in the entire UFC right now, maybe tied for the longest now that Despain got cut. He's 6'5". He's got explosive athletic ability. He's got solid technical, defensively sound distance striking. And man, when he gets on top of dudes, he is suffocating from top control, can finish fights with ground and pound, can finish fights with submissions, can advance to dominant positions, get to your back. I think Omar Sy, that's why you would see him as a -900 favorite in a fight where I think most people knew he probably only should have been -200, -250, but the hype is so real on this guy. Now, he fucked up last time. He fought a guy like Menafield. He chose not to wrestle for some reason. The round he did wrestle, he won decisively. It was the only decisive round of the fight. But the rounds that he didn't wrestle, we saw that the striking is solid, but it's not great. The thing is that Alonzo Menafield is built like a mailbox, and he's going to be very difficult to take down like a mailbox is, like a fire hydrant is. Like if you try to take down certain inanimate objects, it's going to go really bad for you. And that's kind of like what Alonzo Menafield is. It's like trying to take down your refrigerator. Good luck. What are you going to do? You're going to get a foot sweep? You're going to trip it? Or are you going to fucking wind up pulling the thing on top of you, and then, your wife's going to have to explain why you were a dumbass to the coroner. So I think that with Bryczek Ribeiro has got some of the worst takedown defense you're going to see in any division of the UFC. So 0% actually right now is where his takedown defense is. And when we saw like Magomed Gaziasulov having trouble against him, we saw Bryczek Ribeiro not only easy to take down, but this guy will jump guillotine too, just to put himself on his back. And then once you get out of the guillotine, he's got no get-up game. So I think Omar Sy is going to be better on the feet. I think he's going to be better in the clinch. And I think if he takes down Bryczek Ribeiro, he can get to a dominant position and potentially finish this fight. But after that last fight, I think Omar Sy's fallen in love with his hands a little bit. And I don't know if we're going to see him grapple as much as we're used to seeing him grapple. So if that's the case, I think Omar C is going to win some minutes on the feet. I think he's going to potentially win some minutes with some wrestling, but I don't think he's going to get him out of there. So I'm going with Omar C to win the fight by decision. Next fight, William Gomis versus Robert Ruchala. And Gomis like a minus 270 favorite. He might even be a bigger favorite than that now. Ruchala plus almost 230 as the underdog. Fight doesn't go to decision here, sitting at plus 195. So Gomis is not really a finisher at this level. He hasn't shown that yet. He does have a finish on his record against poor Yanis Gamori, but that was due to a nut shot. And I think Loic Pora was the referee, and that dude is one of the worst referees on the planet Earth. So he missed that. That's Gomis' only decision. But, I think or finish. And I think it's really important to note that if you're not finishing Yanis Gamori, if you're not finishing Jarno Aarons, even Francis Marshall damn near finished Gomis when they fought. And that was because Marshall was able to wrestle and to get into top position. And Ruchala has a decent ground game, man. He's a slick grappler. I don't think he's a very good wrestler, unfortunately, but this guy can get to your back. He's got long limbs. He's got good submissions. So it's going to be an interesting fight because, Ruchala is a aggressive fighter who throws a lot of volume. And I think that's going to make it a little bit more exciting of a fight because Gomis is a guy that is extremely defensively responsible. He's really hard to hit. And fighters like that, they get a bad rap. I mean, the most dominant fighters in the UFC are very defensively sound. And people don't like watching defensively sound fighters. They don't like watching fights that are one-sided where only one person is getting hit. And that's kind of how Gomis fights. But his money line is sitting damn near close to minus 300, but his decision prop is sitting closer to even money. And I think that's the most, I think that's the best way to play this is that Gomis probably wins this fight by decision because of how defensively sound he is, because of how difficult to hit he is, and he's good in the clinch too. So he uses that size and strength well. I think Gomis is going to win a lot of fights at this level, and I think this is a good opponent for him to do it against. So I'm liking Gomis, but I think that I'd much rather play the Gomis by decision prop at close to even money rather than lay almost 75% implied on William Gomis, who, to be fair, has never really looked better than 55 or 60% implied in any of his fights. And like I say, against Francis Marshall, he was really close to being finished in that third round, man. So not a guy I want to lay juice on right now, William Gomis, but I don't mind taking the decision prop at even money. Next fight, we got another UFC debutant here with Axel Sola, the Aries FC lightweight champion, minus 131 over McKee, who's sitting at plus 111 for this fight. I like McKee here. I think McKee's very, very live to get a finish, but Axel Sola has actually proved to be a very durable fighter, but a durable fighter down at 155. And how do we know he's durable? Well, because he's getting the shit kicked out of him in certain situations, and he's kind of proving to be a little bit hittable at distance striking range. So I think this is a great spot for McKee. I'm not really sure why Axel Sola is the favorite here. I think McKee doesn't get a lot of credit from the betting markets, and that's fine. He's continuing to get better. He fights with the type of style that I like backing with my money. I like durable guys that keep their foot on the gas, throw a lot of volume, and have the ability to finish fights. And most importantly, have the ability to finish fights that maybe they didn't get off to the best start in. Like when McKee was this close to stopping Angalusa in the third round of a fight that he was losing. The way he ran through Daniel Frunzer. He can get better as the fight goes on. He's extremely durable. He's got great conditioning, and he never fucks off and never stops throwing volume. And he does have power too. I feel like this should be McKee minus 150. He's my favorite bet of the week. Axel Sola is a lightweight, you guys. He's a lightweight who's making his UFC debut at 170 on about 2 weeks' notice against a much bigger, much more experienced opponent, a guy with 5 UFC fights compared to a guy who's making his UFC debut. And he's going to be making it up a weight class on short notice against the guy who's from the continent and McKee. So I like Reese here. I like him a lot. I think he's very live to finish this fight potentially as well. But because Axel Sola has proven to be so durable in his previous fights, I'm picking Reese McKee to win this one by decision. Next fight, Bolaji Oki versus Mason Jones. Mason is a slight -130 favorite here over Bolaji. I can't wait for this fight. I think this has got fight of the night potentially written all over it, as well as Axel Sola versus Reese McKee. I think that that's also going to be a very exciting fight. And, you know, I'm not really committal about who I think is going to win this fight. I think both of these guys are very live to win this fight. The thing that's bothering me about Oki is that he's beating featherweights at this level. You know, Timmy Kawamba's a featherweight. His last opponent came up from featherweight to fight him on short notice. Both of his wins are guys that took fights on short notice against him. And when he fought an actual lightweight, he got submitted in the first round. Bolaji's got a phenomenal jab. He's got great size and strength and a frame for the division, but he's not going to be any bigger than Mason Jones. These guys are actually the same size. So Jones is somebody who I think has better kicks and could potentially have the better long-range weapons in this fight. I think he's the much better offensive and defensive wrestler here. I think if this fight winds up in the clinch, Mason is very good in the clinch. A judo black belt, and he's got great clinch striking as well. And I like the way this dude wrestles. He's a good wrestler. Not the best top control, but man, he will shoot. He will mix in those takedowns. He wasn't even trying to wrestle until like the last minute and a half of every round of the Jeremy Stevens fight, but he still managed 8 takedowns in that fight. So Mason can get that wrestling going whenever he wants, and I'm not entirely sure about Bolaji Oki's ground game yet. He's still training out of Belgium. You know, I don't know if he's we haven't really seen this guy get a UFC level win yet. While we see guys like Mason Jones going out there against similar opponents like Mike Davis, like David Onama, you know, and getting wins against Onama, getting a great win in his last fight against Jeremy Stevens, showing that he could stand with a guy like that. Really just destroying Alan Patrick when they fought, and then Patrick got bailed out because of an eye poke. So I have to lean with the Jones side here, but I think that Oki is still a bit of an unknown in my eyes, just because we haven't seen him really have that breakout performance yet in the UFC. The Dylan Salvador fight was phenomenal, but if you go back before the Dylan Salvador fight, he's fighting some really low-level guys in some second and third rate European regional scene organizations. And the guys that he's beating at this level, a 29-28 against Kawamba, you know, that was just kind of okay. The last Bolaji Oki win was against who? I forget already. Michael Aswell, he was a -600 favorite in that fight. And, you know, Bolaji won it, but Aswell is a featherweight that took the fight on short notice. So, yeah, we're going to see about Mason Jones. Because he's fought much bigger guys. Don't forget, this guy was 155 and 170-pound champion in Cage Warriors before he got to the UFC the first time. So I think Mason Jones could potentially use that size and physicality against a guy who hasn't really seen lightweights yet. You know what I'm saying? So, it's going to be a great fight. I think that Oki's got a great jab. I love his low kicks. I love how technical he is. He's explosive. He's powerful. Great conditioning too. So I think this fight's going to go to decision. I like fight goes at a little bit of juice here, and I'm picking Mason Jones to win this one by decision. But I also think Mason Jones by submission this week is a cheeky high upside prop, as we've seen Bolaji Oki submitted before. And I think if Mason Jones is fighting smart, he's working in the grappling here. And if he does that, he could potentially find a submission. So I think Mason Jones, if he's fighting with that smart game plan, the grappling path to victory will be in play, and potential submission will be in play against the guy in Oki who we just don't know what the grappling game is going to look like at this level. 3 more fights to break down here. We got Modestas Bukauskas versus Paul Craig. We got Bukauskas at about a -350 favorite. Craig plus 285. Fight doesn't go to decision, sitting him on -290 here. I like Modestas here, but I like him by decision. Dude, they got his KO prop at like -150. Like Modestas Bukauskas is some kind of a fucking killer now. And I mean, I know Paul Craig's like, this is the same breakdown that I had for Bo Nickel versus Paul Craig. I'm like, why do you guys think that Bo Nickel is going to knock out Paul Craig? Because he knocked out Zach Borrego? You know, like what was who was the guy that was UFC level that he knocked out? So, you know, Bukauskas goes out there and he knocks out Cerquera, who's a complete fraud in the last fight. Now all of a sudden the market's acting like this dude's a finisher and that Paul Craig hasn't been in there with, I mean, like literally, if Bukauskas fought Paul Craig's schedule, I mean, Paul Craig is like 7-9 with a. I mean, Bukauskas would be like 3-13 if he fought Paul Craig's schedule. So, I mean, I think that Bukauskas definitely wins the minutes on the feet here, but I don't think he's some killer. So I have a 1-unit bet on Modestas Bukauskas to win by decision at plus 360, which I think is a massive discount considering his money line. The markets are telling you he wins this fight close to 80% of the time at minus 350. But when you're getting a plus 360 on a decision prop, you're saying that's a little over 20%. So I think that Bukauskas by decision is the way to go here because there's a couple of reasons why you can't get too aggressive against a guy like Paul Craig. It could open up you could open yourself up to being taken down if you get too aggressive, you throw too many kicks, and if you put together too many combinations, it's an opportunity for Craig to get in on your legs and potentially start the grappling exchanges of this fight. So I think Bukauskas is going to do what he usually does: fight at a snail's pace, be very defensively responsible. He's going to have to worry about Paul Craig closing the distance on him and clinching up with him and trying to get this fight to the ground. And if it does get to the ground, Paul Craig's a problem from top control with his ground and pound, from his guard with his submissions. So, you know, I just don't think Bukauskas is the kind of fighter you go around laying minus 350 on. But I'm perfectly happy to admit that the line is too wide, but that Bukauskas probably wins and take that value in the Bukauskas plus 360. I like the over 1.5 rounds for this fight because I just don't see Modestas Bukauskas as some kind of crazy finisher. And when you look at the guys that have knocked out Paul Craig, they'd all knock out Modestas Bukauskas, including fucking Khalil Roundtree. You know, Roundtree, I think even Paul Craig Craig beat Roundtree, and then he almost destroyed Bukauskas' career. But either way, I just think that this one's going to go the full 15 minutes, and I played a unit on Bukauskas decision, and I like the over 1.5 here. Next fight, Benoit Saint-Denis versus Mauricio Ruffy. Benoit Saint-Denis earlier in the week was plus 150. Ruffy was minus 175, but I think now that line has moved quite a bit. UFC, refresh. What do you mean no available bets? No available bets how? Okay, there we go. Yeah, now Saint-Denis only plus 124, and Ruffy is minus 148. So I made a bet earlier this week on Benoit Saint-Denis, 1.5 units at plus 170. That line has moved quite a bit in my favor, and if I was smart, I would probably just hedge out. Because whenever I get this much line movement in my favor, the fucking bet never cashes. So, but I do think that this one finishes inside the distance. So I don't think it won't cash because Benoit Saint-Denis gets fucked by the judges, because I don't see this fight going the full 15 minutes. I think if he does lose this fight, it's because Mauricio is going to knock him out. But we've still got to find out. I mean, with Ruffy, you got wins over Fat Jan Top, a 38-year-old man who changed his first name to King, and then Jamie Malarkey. So he's still got a lot to prove at this level, in my opinion. I don't know what the grappling game looks like either, so I'm absolutely happy to take a shot on Benoit Saint-Denis here. I'm thinking he's going to finish him. I think he's going to get him down, and I think he's going to submit him. When you watch the Mauricio Ruffy versus Manuel Sosa fight that took place many years, it was a long time ago, so we can't put too much stock into it. But it was, when you watch how Sosa fought, it was a very similar game plan to how Benoit Saint-Denis fights. He was clinching up with him. He was shooting takedowns. He wasn't getting the takedowns, but he was making Ruffy grapple. He was putting Ruffy on the back foot. He wasn't giving him space. And eventually, Ruffy just broke and got knocked out. Guys like Ruffy are extremely technical strikers, but they need space. They don't like pressure. When you look at the third round of the Fat Yontop fight, and to be fair, Fat Yontop's got an absolute brick for a head. So most fighters would have already been knocked out by the third round had they fought Mauricio Ruffy there. But Yontop, like I said, he's the Peruvian Homer Simpson. He walked through everything that fucking Ruffy was landing. And in that third round, he knew he had lost the first 2 rounds, so he started pressuring. And he won the third round against Mauricio. So I just want to point that out. Benoit Saint-Denis is not going to sit at distance striking range with this guy and play point fighting with him. He's going to be walking forward like he does in every single fight. He's going to be initiating grappling exchanges. And while this fight is at distance striking range, Benoit Saint-Denis has excellent long-range weapons from the southpaw stance with those body kicks that he throws. So Ruffy's an orthodox fighter. I think he might struggle a little bit with a southpaw in Saint-Denis, especially when you not only have to worry about those powerful strikes of Saint-Denis, but the threat of the wrestling as well. So I'm going with the Saint-Denis submission here in round 2. I think he breaks Ruffy like Manuel Sosa broke him. And if Ruffy wins, I think it's going to be a knockout, you guys. I mean, come on. I think that Saint-Denis is going to be putting on the pressure. I think he's going to be fighting this fight in a phone booth. But we all know how precise Ruffy is. We all know how clean and technical of a striker he is. He's at a great camp in Fighting Nerds. This guy's got a lot of star power. So that's why this is the co-main event. It's going to be a phenomenal fight because Benoit Saint-Denis never lets down the crowd, and he won't do it in Paris, France. And he's getting an opponent who's going to give him all he can handle. I can't wait for this fight. It's one of the fights I've been looking forward to the most this year, and I don't see how this fight is going to suck. I think it's going to be Benoit Saint-Denis, but I can't wait for this one. Which brings us to the main event of the evening. Caio Borralho, the money keeps coming in on him. He's minus 125. Nasruddin plus 105. Fight doesn't go to decision here, sitting at plus 145 for this fight. So I'm going with Caio. I'm going with him by decision. I think there's grappling upside, offensive and defensive wrestling. I think he's going to be a little bit better than Imavov's. I absolutely hate how easy it is to put Nasruddin Imavov against that cage and keep him there. And I think that Caio Borralho is definitely going to be doing that. While this fight is at distance striking range, I think Caio might even be better. He's got a very tricky style to deal with. The southpaw, the traditional martial arts stance, the up and down bouncing on the toes. These are all very tricky guys to get timing off of. And Caio takes very, very little damage. One of the most dominant fighters in the organization just because of his willingness to take the path of least resistance. And I love betting on those types of fighters. So I'm going with Caio Borralho by decision because I think that the striking exchanges are going to be very close. But I think whenever Caio wants to get an advantage, he can close the distance on Nasruddin, clinch up with him, and he could potentially get a double leg or two and find some success from top control with his ground and pound and Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So I think it's going to be Caio Borralho who might be next to face Khamzat Chimaev in the middleweight division. And we also are going to be seeing Fluffy Hernandez fight Renier de Ritter, which will also clear up the title picture for us going forward. But this is a great fight. Nasruddin fighting in his home country of France. Caio making the long trip from Sao Paulo, Brazil to Paris, France. Going to be a hell of a fight. Can't wait for this one, you guys. So we've got all these picks, and I've got to give you guys the Bootsy Collins Memorial Dogs Are Barking pick of the week. Now, I got a favorite here in Borralho. I got an underdog here in Saint-Denis, so that's one dog. Favorite, dog in McKee, that's two dogs. Gomis a favorite, C's a favorite. Tybura's a slight underdog, maybe even. Where is he right now? Tybura plus 105, so that's three underdogs that I'm picking. Trey Waters is an underdog, that's four underdogs that I'm picking. Fakhretdinov is an underdog, that's five. So I've got five guys to choose from. I don't want to pick against Gustafsson. And I know that Waters, Sam Patterson's a great prospect. I bet on Waters 1.5 units at plus 150. I think he's going to be the better striker, but I worry about Patterson's calf kicks, and I worry about the long layoff for Trey Waters because I think he tore his knee up in the first round of the Goff fight. So I think if Patterson wins, it's going to be by decision, you guys. But potentially there could be a submission there. But I don't want to pick against Sam Patterson here, even though I did bet Trey Waters. This one is not a fight I got a great hold on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go. I mean, come on, man. We're in France. You know, the god of war, the grappling advantage, the strength of schedule advantage, you know, the UFC experience advantage. Fighting with a style that isn't going to give Mauricio Ruffy the type of room that he needs to look the best version of himself. So your Booty Collins Memorial Dogs Are Barking pick of the week is the Benoit Saint-Denis money line. I got it at plus 170. It was plus 150 on Thursday morning when I did the Balls Deep breakdown show for my Odd Shopper subscribers, and now he's even less. So there's been a ton of money coming in on the Saint-Denis side. But I'm still making them your Bootsy Collins Memorial Dogs Are Barking pick of the week, which leaves us with one order of business left. It's Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week. And I can't just give you somebody that I think is going to win. Like, I think Borralho is going to win, but I think it'll be by decision. I think Bukauskas is going to win, but I think it's going to be by decision. I think these guys are extremely well matched, and I think either one of them can win the fight. I like McKee to win and win dominantly. Whether it be by decision or whether it be with an early or late finish, I like McKee to win dominantly. Not Gomis. C's minus 500. Pick 'em fight. Picking a dog there. This guy never finishes anybody. Tavares. Fakhretdinov. I mean, I'm picking him to win, but I think it's going to be very close. Sam Hughes. So we need value. We're doing something we don't do very often, you guys. We are giving you a plus money. Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week. I'm a little bit surprised by the line. I don't know why Axel Sola is a favorite here. Maybe he can get takedowns. Maybe he can out-physical Reese McKee on the mat and win a clinch and grappling-based decision like we've seen him do in Aries a couple of different times against small lightweights and some featherweights that have moved up. But Reese McKee is a huge welterweight. I don't think that Axel Sola is going to be able to have success out-physicaling Reese McKee in the clinch and out wrestling him and holding him down. So I think that Reese McKee is going to win this fight. And Reese McKee has a 100% finish rate. So I think that if he does win this fight, there's a very high likelihood that he winds up being the first person to finish Axel Sola, who has never lost before. But we've seen Axel Sola put in very bad spots before. The first round of the Dagir Imavov fight when he fought Nasruddin Imavov's brother. He was basically knocked out in the first round of that fight, and the ref just didn't stop it. The Delija fight, that his last fight, he was a minus 5,000 favorite, and he got dropped in round 1 by Delija. So I think that Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week this week is somebody that not only is way underpriced, in my opinion, that we can make some money betting their money line, and I have bet his money line for 1.5 units, but I think it's somebody that actually has a very high likelihood to finish the fight because he has a 100% finish rate as a pro. So your Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week is the Reese McKee money line at plus 110, which leaves us with one order of business left. And that is going to be a Greasy 4-leg parlay, which we can cash and make even more money doing what we love doing. And that's watching UFC fights. So let's get it right off with here, right? Omar C's money line at minus 500, minus 525 is going to be the first leg. I think he's one of the best fighters in the organization. I know he lost to Alonzo Menafield, but Menafield would run through Ribeiro as well. And we got C at minus 900 last time. We're getting him at minus 500 this time against a worse fighter than Alonzo Menafield. So even though he's coming off of what I would call a career worst performance, I think you could still make an argument that Omar C won 2 or even 3 rounds of that fight. So I'm going with Omar C as a first easy leg to cash. And then we're going to make it a little more difficult on ourselves here. But, you know, the more difficult we make it on ourselves, the better the cash will be if we fucking get this thing to come home. And we were, God damn it, you know, like 2 weeks ago, we were too damn close. We hit 3 out of 4 legs, and the leg that we missed on was the Long Zhou money line, and he won that fight. So we got robbed. The gambling gods fucked us out of a Greasy 4-leg cash 2 weeks ago before the break week. And now the gambling gods, Gambler, I'm calling you out, buddy. I'm going full screen for this. You fucking owe us. You fucked us on the Long Zhou money line. That he won that fight. He probably won all 3 rounds of that fight He cleanly won the third round, and then somehow they gave 1 and 2 to Su Young Yu. Don't agree with it. But that was line number 1, and then we hit the 2, 3, and the 4 legs of that one. Should have been a plus 600-ish cash for us. So you're going to fucking stay out of the way this time, and if we deserve to win, you're going to let it happen, gambler. All right, so leg number 2 is going to be the Reese McKee money line. He's Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week. The price is right at plus 110. That's going to give us a nice fat leg here that is going to meet up this parlay. It's going to give us a nice plus money number here. So we're at plus 152 now for this 2-leg parlay. Leg number 3 is going to be William Gomis, who's like almost a minus 300 favorite to win this fight right now, sitting at minus 265. But he's a guy who isn't really finishing at this level. So Gomi by decision is probably his most likely path to victory. And when we get the Gomi decision prop, which is sitting at minus 105, that brings our 3-leg parlay up to plus 392. And leg number 4 is going to be the over 1.5 rounds in the Bukauskas versus Craig fight, where I have Modestas Bukauskas by decision bet at plus 360. I like that over 1.5 at minus 145. My models don't like it as much, but Paul Craig isn't getting this fight to the ground, and I don't think that Modestas is going to find an early KO because he's too patient. He's too defensively responsible. And if he gets out too far over his skis trying to knock this dude out, he might wind up getting taken down. So, yeah, I think that this one is going to come out. I think it's going to go all the way to decision, but I think we're going to cash that minus 145. When that thing comes out to plus 731 here on DraftKings Sportsbook, I'm going to throw a half unit on it. You guys can put as much money on it as you want, but I'm hoping that we can stack cash tickets like flapjacks for this UFC Paris card. What is going on with you guys in the chat here? Who's hanging out with their Uncle Weezy talking fights? Let's see. All right. Let's see. We got Jacob saying tricky card, achromatic. We saw all these people before. Our guy Paku, Sammy, Jeff just in time, David, Aria. We got Mad Mardigan saying, please help or need help, Weezy. No confidence in this card. Only bet is a Patterson Fernandez parlay. Thanks for the insight. You got it, man. Yeah, I'm going the other way with Trey Waters, but if Sam has success getting this fight to the ground, if he can clinch up and win minutes there, and if he can land a lot of calf kicks, I think that would be his path to victory. And I mean, obviously he's the favorite. So, there's a good chance that Patterson wins. And then Fernandez. Oh, Cowboy Fernandez against Harry Hardwick. Yeah, I didn't even research that fight, so I have nothing for you there. Theo is saying, did you guys see Axel's chest? Because it looked like he might have staph. I heard some talk about him potentially having staph. And don't forget, you guys, if you have staph, you would never say, like if Aries called you up, the promotion that you're already champion with, and they said, hey, we need you to take a fight on 13 days notice. You would be like, no, I have staph. I'm on antibiotics right now. But if it's the UFC that calls, can you afford to tell them no? And that's another thing, this guy's got staph, but I kind of also feel like, he should have told them no and said, look, I mean, if you want me to make my debut, I'd like to do it at 155 pounds against a lightweight. So yeah, man, that's another reason why I'm really high on the Reese McKee side this week. Brandon saying, what are my single best and worst ever fight predictions? Okay, so the worst would have to be I picked Dricus du Plessis over Hamzat. I picked the week before that. I made a really bad pick, a really bad bet. Oh yeah, Delija over Hernandez. That was terrible. And Hernandez is my favorite fighter. I had a bet on Jackson McVeigh to beat Bruno Ferreira. I had a bet on the Swiss dude, Valentin. He got his ass shaved by Ateba Gutier. Not only did he get his ass shaved and get his head knocked into the middle of next week, but he shot 0 takedowns. So, I mean, I've had several bad fight predictions. My best fight prediction probably was Brady Heastand to win in round 3 against Garrett Armfield. I cashed a plus 2,500 there. I've had some really good, when when Gagiasulov fought Brenson Ribeiro, I remember the decision prop was plus 900, and I bet that plus 900. I said, he's not finishing this dude. This guy is not a finisher at this level. His finishing upside is being, overstated, and he wound up winning that fight by decision. It wound up being a big cash. So I've made some good ones, but like all cappers out there, man, like sometimes, like the prediction's fine until the fight starts, and then it's up to the fighters to do their job. And sometimes you just completely get the wrong read. It happens to everybody. And I've made some really bad ones, Brandon. Sammy's saying Axel definitely has staff. Sam is better everywhere, like you said, and her boxing is getting better. She might finish Puna's job. She might. That could be. No idea why Gustafsson is here and why these odds are like this. Renat by murder, Planet Fitness fighter. Yeah, I know. That was wild to see that he was training Chaos Williams at Planet Fitness for that fight. We got Sultan in the room saying, oi! Kevin saying, oi! And Sultan saying, Uncle Weezy, he the man. Noah saying, no bets for a reason. Gustafsson is a dog, to be honest. Yeah, that he is a fucking dog. That is for sure. Joe likes Gustafsson all day. Renat did not look good when Leal was putting pressure on him, and Gustafsson is gonna pressure the shit out of him. So it's gonna be an interesting fight, man. Plus, he's battle tested. Yeah, no, he is battle tested. Sammy saying, I saw him, Gustafsson. He hits with his head. Never a good idea against 11-1 TKO fighter. That's for sure. Third round dog rounds? I don't know. Chaos Williams is a very big power puncher. Wasn't even close to rocking him. That's true. That's true. True. Brother, I really think Brad dropping this, like you're saying. He looked horrible against Leal and horrible against Awash Santos. Gustafsson has never been finished in 24 fights. Baby Renat won't hurt him seriously. Tavares is a bad striker. No, he's not a bad striker. He's a very good striker. Truth Hurt saying facts. Bryczek may have had UFC jitters in his first fight. Well, the problem with Bryczek is that he got a completely different opponent. He was training for Albert Duraev, and then he got Ihor Peterier on fight week. So like I say, that's why I don't fucking do predictions for these fights that are made on Tuesday or Wednesday, because Kawe Fernandez flew all the way to fucking Paris, and he's like, dude, find me somebody. I didn't fly all the way out here to fucking not fight. So that's why, Bryczek looks so shitty, is because he was training for an orthodox wrestler, and he wound up getting a southpaw striker. Could not put away Mearshart standing and got knocked out by Bruno Silva. Ihor has twice knocked out than Brand with some losses. I think about that. Tavares will win. Bryczek is garbage. Bryczek's got power, though. Easy Tavares for me. Bryczek just in UFC level. Ihor is a better striker than Brad. No. Do you know what fucking Brad Tavares would do to Ihor Peterier? Probably bet the over. I like the over on that fight. I wouldn't put my money on Bryczek if he was plus 1,000. One of the biggest bums in the organization. If Tavares loses, he should retire on the spot. Well, Tavares doesn't have the best chin, so Bryczek has got real power. He could potentially hurt Brad. But I mean, outside of that, I think Brad wins the minutes. Sam's neck too long. He seems like a frail bobblehead. Well, now that he's up at 170, he should be more durable. But he'd be getting hit harder, though, too. Kevin saying Tavares will break most middleweights win record. Currently tied with Bisping. Bisping will be commentating. Wow, that's wild. I didn't know that because, yeah, Tavares has got a lot of wins since 2013, but he had wins before that, too. So yeah, 12 wins, but before 2013, 5 wins. Or no, I'm sorry, 4 more wins. So yeah, dude, Brad Tavares got 16 UFC wins, man. That is really something. We got McMuffin is in the room saying, hey, sir, what's up? We got Kevin Possible. I just have a bad feeling about Tavares. I do not like his striking. Mad Mardigan saying, no, I did see left-handed PFL. I did see what Patterson did there. But what I did also see, Mad Mardigan, was what happened before he landed that knockout. And that was him blocking punches with his face for about 3.5 minutes. So I didn't like that. I saw a guy that was getting pieced up and then landed a big shot against somebody in Borralho that may not have any kind of a chin at all. We're going to find out. I like Sam's submission. Trey struggles with BJJ. Well, he sure did against Bonfim. This is crazy, but Hardwick has better wrestling than Mark Diakese guy and better striking than Guram. I haven't seen him. I don't know, Sammy. I'll take your word for it, though. Derek Talbot saying, oh, he finally got to join the live stream for the first time. Let's bullshit the bookies this weekend, boys. Let's get it, man. David is saying that Tybura is the right side. When guy Dudes provides MMA reposted this stream. Appreciate you, my man. Sammy's saying that Omar looks in shape. We got Theo saying if C doesn't get a finish, I'm smashing my TV. He better get a finish, but I'm picking him to win by decision. We'll see what he does. But he should, I feel like if he wants to bounce back, he should take this dude down and fucking finish him. But I don't know if that's going to happen. One of the legs so far, I've already finished with that. You probably missed them, but yeah, it's Omar C money line is leg 1. Leg 2 is the Reese McKee money line. Leg 3 is William Gomis by decision. Leg 4 is the over 1.5 rounds for Bukauskas versus Craig. That comes out to plus 731 this week. Noah's saying mailbox. Yeah, he is. Well, he's built like a mailbox, man. What is Bannon's takedown defense percentage? I'll get it for you. So she gets taken down 1.6 times per 15 minutes on 2.7 attempts against. So it is a 43% takedown defense is what it is, Chief. Voice of Reason saying right now, can't believe you aren't watching LFA right now, Unc. I'm going to watch it right after I'm done talking to you guys, man. Or I'll probably go back and watch it later on tonight, actually. I love watching LFA. Brandon R. saying, main event seems like a guaranteed decision, so it's going to be a quick finish. Dude, that's sometimes how I feel, man. Like, when I see, like, the most obvious over or the most obvious under, I just don't bet them. Because I just feel like, oh, that fight should finish in the first 30 seconds. So, yeah, it's going to decision. Sometimes you just feel like these fights, they're the least likely thing is going to happen, man. Exclusive Oro in the room saying, oi, late but never late for dinner. Who is the too many unanswered questions fighter this week, or is pretty even in tape? So, like, there's a few guys that I think that are a little bit hoofy. I feel like we need more. I feel like we need more on Hoofy. We haven't seen him grapple much. We know Bukauskas and Craig. And Balaji Oki is another guy that I still think has some unanswered questions, but I think he's a very good fighter. Even Sam Patterson, I feel like we need to see more of him. Andreas Gustafsson, there are some unanswered questions on some of these fighters that have had good wins thus far in the UFC, but you don't know if they're going to be able to keep that up. Jacob Cole likes a Balaji Oki knockout. The Truth Hurts saying the wrestling may make the difference. The Oki fight is off, says Abdi, but he's saying, no, never mind, sorry. He's thinking Pitbull, and yes, Pitbull fight is off. Best money line this week besides Omar C for me is going to be the Reese McKee money line at plus 110. Sultan is saying Imavov inside the distance, BSD inside the distance, Modestus decision, Gomi decision, bet the house. So I've got 3 of those 4. I'm picking BSD inside the distance. I'm picking Modestus decision. I'm picking Gomis decision. But the Imavov inside the distance, man, Kyle's never been finished as a professional. So it's going to be very difficult for him to find a finish, but we'll see. Anyone else notice that money is still pouring in on BSD? I know. I'm kind of surprised that this much. I actually felt like when I bet Benoit plus 170 that I might be able to even get him at plus 200 by the end of the week because there's so much hype on Hoofy, but I don't know why there's this much money coming in on BSD, but I'm on that BSD side for sure. My book is the Bukauskas decision plus 240. Yeah, so that's another reason why I absolutely love that 360 decision prop. Let's see what it is on DraftKings here. It's plus 300 on DraftKings. I got it on I got it on Bet Rivers. Let's see where it is right. Maybe I got it at plus 330. Maybe that's what I got it at. Maybe not 360. Let's see. Oh, come on. Plus 360 by decision. Plus 360 Modestus Bukauskas by decision on Bet Rivers. That's where it's available there. That's where I've got the 1 unit bet. Plus 240, I don't like it nearly as much, Gabe. That's for sure. Mighty Pro saying Axel Sola's first single on his new album, Guns and Poses. Let's go, man. Axel Rose, Guns and Poses. Futures Exhibit saying Hughes by decision. Gomis and over 2.5. I agree with both of those. Brad and over 1.5. Or by decision, KO. McKee, thoughts. I like all of it. As a matter of fact, my probability parlay this week that I gave out for my members, my Odd Shopper members, was Hughes by decision, Gomi by decision, and what was the under. The fight doesn't start round 3 for Benoit Saint-Denis fight. Betting BSD is comical. Well, not really, dude. I bet him at plus 170 and now he's plus 125, so I don't think it's comical. Kaio plus 5.5, Hughes over 2.5, Ruffy money line or by KO. Ruffy makes it look easy. Trust me. Well, if he does win, he's probably going to make it look easy because the dude has got phenomenal striking, Calvin. There's no question about it. Tybura, KC Knee C. Who? Tybura McKee C. I think that hits as well. I took Waters plus 150. I took him at 150 as well, Gabe. That's where I've got him, my man. We got Ven Carroll saying Omar C by decision is crazy, Uncle Weezy. Omar is finishing Ribeiro, got 5 units on it. Yeah, dude, I wouldn't be surprised at all if he finished them. Now, when I make plays like that, this is my fight write-up for the fight. Now, I write all this up, and I could read it all to you, but I think he's going to stay safe, and I think that Omar's fallen in love with his hands a little bit, and because of that, I don't know if he's wrestling as much as he should, and that's what I'm worried about. That's why I'm picking the decision, is because I think that Omar may not wrestle as much as he should, but if he does wrestle, I think he's going to get to a dominant position and make it look pretty easy. But like I said, I'm putting C in the parlay because I don't know how he's going to win it. I just know that I'd be fucking shocked if he lost 2 fights in a row at this level. Derek Talbot saying, Weezy, BSD, no way. Dude, let me tell you something, Derek. I said I like BSD on Stat Diggers, and there were like 10 people in the fucking comments who were not only saying respectfully, like you're saying to me right now, Weezy, BSD, no way. They were like, you fucking suck, dude. There's no way BSD is winning this fight. Like, there are people that are really invested in Mauricio Ruffy winning this fight. And look, I mean, I played the numbers. I played the number correctly. I got it at plus 170. Now it's available at plus 125. So I could still hedge out if I want to and guarantee myself a win. But I think that BSD stylistically can give Ruffy some problems. But if you're betting BSD, you have to make peace with it right away, Derek, that your guy might get highlight reel knocked out, and it may look like a really bad bet in retrospect. I wish you luck on the Ruffy side. Sola is the better fighter. Yeah, but he's fucking small, Gabe. He's really small. And who has he proven to be a better fighter against? I mean, like, Reese McKee's going 50-50 with Chidi Njokuani, going 50-50 with Angalusa, running through Daniel Frunza. This guy Sola is beating a bunch of nobodies. And frankly, I think he got finished by Dagir Imavov. I think that a good referee would have stopped that fight. And he lost that fight, by the way. I don't know how that fight wound up being called a draw, but he lost the first round 10-8. He lost the third round of that fight. So right there, that should have been a draw, but he lost the 5th round too. So I don't know how the fuck Axel Sola beat Dagir Imavov, but Dagir Imavov is a featherweight, okay? That featherweight came this close to knocking out Axel Sola. So I think this is too much too soon for Sola. The staff, the move up in weight class, the short notice, I think it's going to be too much for him. We got my guy Marcus Williams in the room. Nubian Bookstore stand up. Good to see you in here, Marcus. He's saying, I like Caio Borralho in the main event, and I agree with you, Marcus. I think that line's going to keep moving in his favor. Future exhibit saying Brad, Caio plus 5.5, Hughes by decision, C, easy parlay money, add McKee and Ruffy for boost. I agree. I like it too, dude. McKee used to fight at 155 too. Yeah, but I mean, he's a fucking big 170, Gabe, a huge 170 as a matter of fact. And it's been a while since he fought at 155. That was where he was fighting in Bama before he came up to the UFC and fought Hamzat at 170. And that would have been back in 2020. I think that he made his debut. And that means like 2019, I think, was the last time that Rhys McKee used to fight at 155. Yes, he was. Yeah, that's right. Size difference wasn't noticeable at face-offs, but Sola might have staff. That's what people are saying. He does have staff. Marcus saying a lot of money has come in for BSD. Yeah, it really has, man. I might fucking hedge out. I might hedge out, but because the fight's gonna probably finish inside the distance, I don't have to worry about the judges fucking me on behalf of Vegas. We got Gabe Killian saying, no, I can't make the argument that he won 2 or 3 rounds of that fight. What are you talking? What? You thought? I didn't think Menafield won that fight clearly, dude. First of all, there was one dominant round in the fight, and it was the second round. And that was all Omar C. But yeah, I didn't see a dominant first round from Menafield. I didn't see a dominant third round from Menafield. That's not how I feel about that one, man. But, like I say, I think that his current opponent in Ribeiro is a lot worse than Menafield. We got good luck this weekend. Weezy says, my guy Dravi, who is absolutely tearing shit up. Good to see you hanging out, Dravi. I hope all is well, brother. Good to see you, man. We got such a risky leg, and you're talking about number 2, which was my Rhys McKee. Oh, no, I don't think that's risky. But I like Rhys McKee a lot this week. Roger's saying, pancakes, got you. My boy David, you're against him, says Scooby-Doo. We got Scooby-Doo in the house, man. I love seeing Scooby-Doo. One of my favorite dogs of all time, man. Scooby's the man. Sultan saying Renat, such a greasy watch. Can't get behind him. That's all right, man. It's going to be a good fight, dude. I can't wait for Gustafsson versus Ramat. And then Scooby saying that the Fighting Nerds family's got this one. We got Joe Free saying, what's up, Weezy? Just want to thank you for everything that you do week in and week out. I appreciate you, Weezy. I appreciate you, Joe Free. You're always in here with some real kind words for me, man. And it doesn't go unnoticed, man. Thank you for hanging out with us here. 4-ounce Snyder saying, damn it, I'm late, but oi, Weezy, oi, what is up, 4-ounce Sniper? We got KM saying the China card robbed us brutally. Please feed the people some long shot juice. You know what? I got a long shot parlay for you guys. Now, remember, it's going to be something like 210 to 1, but I think there's a path. So if we were to go here and look at Renat Fakhretdinov by submission at plus 1,900, and we're going to parlay that with Mason Jones by submission at plus 1,000, it will get you 219 to 1. That is the long shot parlay. I'm talking the long shot parlay. Now, I also gave out the take this job and shove it parlay on probability this week, which is coming in at around 78 to 1. That's a 3-legger, but this is one that I think this could hit, man. So we saw Renat submit Kevin Lee when he shot a shit shot. We've seen Mason Jones. We've seen Bolaji Oki submitted, and Mason Jones, I believe, is the better grappler. So that's my super long shot prop parlay. It's going to be Fakhretdinov by sub and Mason Jones by sub coming out at 219 to 1. We got KM saying, yeah, that's right. Leo is saying you will show the fight. I don't know what that means. How are we feeling about the Benoit sub probability at plus 500? It feels pretty live to me, all things considered. Yeah, I don't mind it, but what I did was I played as part of the take this job and shove it parlay was I just played Benoit Saint-Denis inside the distance because I think it could be ground and pound or a submission, but I'm picking Benoit Saint-Denis to win by submission plus 500. It's not a bad number. Like if I were to look at that on my betting model, there it is. The plus 600 submission, which it was earlier, my model liked that quite a bit because 3 of 6 wins for Benoit Saint-Denis are by submission, and 10 of his 14 professional wins are by submission. But his other 4 professional wins are by knockout, so I just went with the inside the distance prop at plus 285 was how I played at stability. Gabe saying I had oh my God, I had $500 on CM Punk versus Michael Jackson. Can't get worse than that. That's a bad bet, Gillian. Gabe, I'm sorry, not Gillian, Gabe. That's a bad bet, but we all made, like I said, man, I just admitted to betting on Dricus du Plessis against Khamzat Chimaev. You know, I mean, like, post-traumatic bet disorder is a real thing. Benoit decision looks like its value. I just bet the money line. You know, I just played the money line because I'm not sure I was going to win it, but I wish you luck, Theo. We got Achromatic saying my best picking Dricus to submit Izzy in the 4th round. Oh yeah. And then my worst is probably Benoit to beat Moicano by 1st round knockout. Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. That was so KM is talking about I had a 55-1 parlay, and it was Andreas Gustafsson by decision over what's his name? Chaos Williams. Josh Van by KO was the 3rd leg, and then I think there was a decision prop on that card. Here, let me look. I'll find it for you guys. So if we go to Gustafsson and then we go to this card, I had a decision prop in there. Ariane de Silva. So it was Gustafsson by decision. Waldo Cortez Acosta by decision I called as well. Murzakanov knockout. Van KO. Yeah, that's what it was. It was Waldo Cortez Acosta by decision, Andreas Gustafsson by decision, and then Joshua Van by KO. Came out to like 60-something to 1. Or you know what? I think it might have been Medeiros by decision that I had. I forget what it was, but there was definitely a big parlay that I hit on that card, and that was a great one, man. Fucking when Vans knocked out Silva, it was absolutely perfect. The God tier play. What's my top 3 vinyls as Scott? That's a good question, man. I mean, like if it's house music, I probably couldn't even answer it. If it's like my alternative rock or my hip hop collection, I mean, I've got Diggable Planets, my Diggable Planets vinyl, which I believe. Put all my hip hop here. No, that's not it. This is one of my favorite house records right here. This Jazma, Voices in Los Angeles remix. This is a fucking banger. And it's the Latin guitar version. It's one of my favorite house records of all time. This is a record on Aquarius Records called Happy Days. This is a great fucking house record as well. This one, DJ D, Shake It For Me. Real good house record there. Some of my favorite vinyls that are not house is Black Sabbath's first album, the Diggable Planets, Rebirth of the Slick, is it called? And then what else? God, I was just listening to some good shit the other day. I will say Wolf Parade, Cry, Cry, Cry. Great album as well, man. Future Exhibit saying Hughes win and over 2.5 Fernandez money line. Patterson money line. Kyle plus 5.5 for a plus 423. I like that. I like that as well. I think best bets for each fight is Hughes decision, Gustafsson money line, Brad KO decision double chance, Patterson money line or take the over 1.5, Fernandez money line, Tybura money line or spread. But money line seems to move, and if he loses, it's inside the distance. C money line. Yeah, that's the importance of shopping different books. There's a wide variance. There really is, man. Brandon saying that Kawe minus 165 and he's minus 200 now. CLV curse is real, dude. Y'all should take Hardwick. CLV curse is a real thing, you guys. It's Guzzy is saying, you think Mason Jones can sub up Oki at plus 1160? I think it's a good bet at that number. Guzzy. Quarter unit, tenth of a unit, something small. But I think it's a good bet. Gomi by decision or Gomi and 2.5. McKee money line, Jones spread, Bukauskas money line, Bukauskas over 1.5, Kyle spread. There you go. All right, give us a contrarian, unlikely 3-legger to retire on. All right, so yeah, let's add Bukauskas by decision here to this one. So we go Bukauskas by decision at plus 360, Fakhretdinov by submission at plus 1900, Mason Jones by submission at plus 1000. That's 1011 to 1. So if you were to put $25 on that, you would win $25,275. If you were to put $250 on that, you would win $252,700 on if you're looking to retire, and I am not guaranteeing that it hits, but Fakhretdinov by submission, Mason Jones by submission, and Bukauskas by decision. And if you're looking for something a little bit cleaner than that, go Bukauskas by decision, Benoit Saint-Denis inside the distance, and hang on a second. Get my show notes up here. Where did I put that with? And then throw Reese McKee inside the distance. McKee inside the distance, Bukauskas by decision, and the BSD inside the distance. That comes out to plus 75.91 on BetRivers. So that's about a 76 to 1, and that is your take this job and shove it parlay. McKee inside the distance, BSD inside the distance, Bukauskas by decision. All right, it's Guzzy saying locks, Modestus and Hughes, almost no chance they lose. Other value bets, Imavov, Ruffy, Gustafsson. Brandon saying everyone so sure Ruffy wins, yet he's only minus 148. Smart money on BSD. The public is on Ruffy. We'll see, man. I mean, like, we don't find out who the smart money is on until after the fight and after the result. But we'll find out, my man. We'll find out. I hope BSD wins. We'll see, though. Scooby-Doo saying, yo, we got his Guzzy saying, get it on Ruffy now. There's no way the odds get any better. Yeah, I think so. Yitro saying BSD and Ruffy. Hard to see it going the full 15 minutes. Couldn't agree more. I think that the fight doesn't go to decision there is a pretty good bet. And I've got the fight doesn't start round 3 in a parlay, Yitro. My guy Swinger is in the room with the picture of his Uncle Weezy there going, let's stack them like flapjacks this weekend. Let's go, my man. Good to see you here. We got Yitro saying, I feel like Kyle has done stuff with trans women. Why? Why do you think that, dude? He is a free spirit, though. So, like, if Kyle wanted to do that, he would do it because he's a free spirit and he would just follow what his gut told him to do. So, who knows, man? Who knows? Jacob Cole saying, I like McKee and Waters a lot this week. Well, I've got bets on both of them, Jacob. I hope we're right. And my guy Dravi's saying, Weezy, you're right on BSD. Do not hedge out. And I don't know. Maybe the market's telling us that they know something too here, because it's a pretty big move against the guy in Ruffy who's got a ton of hype and who's coming off a career best win. So it's interesting to see this much of a move. My guy Daz Files is in the room saying, good luck, everyone. Thanks, Weezy. You got it, Daz. Good to see you hanging out, brother. Damare saying, Tybura just swung massively to become an underdog. Does anyone know if any new information came out? I have not heard anything, Damare, but keep in mind that even though so let's look here. Let me get all this off the screen. If we look at the actual line movement, right? I'm going to refresh this and I'm going to go down to Tybura here, who's now plus 105. Dope. I screwed up. I got to click the actual line. It's kind of been bouncing around because it was over here between August 28th and September 1st. It was sitting around plus 100. Then it comes down here, and then he's a little bit of a favorite. But now, yes, they come right back in and made him the underdog again. So some Delija money is coming in. But, I mean, it's not that big of a move. I wouldn't say that there's any information. But if it keeps going and Delija winds up, minus 150 tomorrow, then maybe there's something going on. It's Guzzy saying good chance Gomis knocks out Ruchala, by the way, if he's aggressive. He's got a little bit of power, but we'll see how aggressive he is. Not dominant, but clearly edged. I had C in parlays and thought he lost 2-1. Okay, so you bet on C. Yeah, I was thinking of betting on fucking Menafield there, but I just couldn't pull the trigger, and I thought maybe he won it. It was a close fight. It was close enough. Definitely not dominant, though. You're right about that. Sola, debut, staff, up a weight class, tough. It's a tough road to hoe for sure, Daz Files. Fernandez is my favorite play tomorrow. I wish I could confirm or deny that, but I didn't even research the fight game. But I mean, I get it, man. John Dong's in the room saying, what's up? What's up, John? We got Caveman saying we were wrong about Gage Young last card. I certainly was, man. I thought that Mahashate was going to win. I had no money on the fight, but Gage Young went all the way to China and beat a Chinese dude. And I was watching the first round of that fight, but I didn't get to see the second or third rounds. I think he must have finished strong because Mahashate was looking actually pretty good in the first. Caveman Yogi should have put, yeah, you're right. You're right. And I did put respect on the Tater McSpadden win. I said, they're not handing out wins over Tater McSpadden at the Walmart, ladies and gentlemen. I feel like I did put good respect on that win, but yeah, man, I didn't put respect on the other wins, and he looked good. I boosted that parlay by 50% and cleared 100-1. There we go, KM. There we go. Sounds good, man. Junior Vasquez, great. Oh, yeah. See, now that's some New York house there, Robert Saladino. I remember Junior Vasquez from back in the day. That is a house music legend right there. Hit the like for our boy. Good to see Muhammad hanging out in here. We got Robert saying Junior played 30 hours straight. Oh, my God. 1999 into 2000 New Year's Eve. I was there with almost no brain cells left. That must have been a hell of a time, man. Because New Year's Day is my birthday. So whenever there were big New Year's parties, I was always, I hopped up on some kind of goofballs, Robert. And I'm sure you were too, dude. We got Azuro saying Weezy is the biggest Tybura fan. I love it. LOL. I've been betting on him, man. And I think that he's going to win this fight. We'll see how it all goes. I don't have any money on him this time, though, Azuro. Genova7, my guy, saying, let's hope tomorrow is payday. Johnny Paycheck would be proud. Yes, he would. Johnny Paycheck, the original composer of Take This Job and Shove It. Let's get it, my man. Daz Files saying Tybura has no motivation, just turning up for a paycheck. I bet anti by KO. We'll find out, man. I have no money on that fight, Daz Files. I really feel like the line is correct right where it is at a pick'em. We got Rollo in the room saying, "Oh, what is up, dude?" Slips and rips saying Kyle is pound for pound #1 worst tattoos. I mean, the free spirit. I mean, I don't have any neck tattoo. I don't have any tattoos, actually. I don't even have one tattoo, but I wouldn't start with a neck tattoo. This is free spirit. And then he's got the other one that says fight or die. Yeah, he's got some interesting tattoos for sure. Oh, dude, you're going to Portugal tomorrow. There you go, man. Have some fun, Rollo. Take care of yourself. Enjoy beautiful Portugal. We got Gabe saying, I don't know if it's new information, but I noticed the weigh-in that Delija is on the sauce. Okay, well, he might be, dude. Best time to do it is when you're about to make your UFC debut and get that big win. Arya saying, I appreciate the hard work, Uncle. I enjoy watching your videos. Thanks you for hanging out, Arya. Appreciate you. We got Theosaris Castellanis in the room saying, how would you hedge the BSD bet? Something like Ruffy KO? No, because I got him at plus 170. I could just bet Ruffy at minus 155 and guarantee a profit. Because minus 155, no matter who won, I would be able to win money if I were to put the correct amount of money on Mauricio Ruffy that hedges out of my BSD position. But my guy Dravi told me not to do it, so I'm not going to do it. We got Fat Barnett in the room. What is up, dude? Saying you the man, Weezy. Hope the universe is treating you well. It is, and we're all anxiously awaiting the return of Fat Barnett to the UFC Octagon. Good to see you hanging out, brother. Can't wait for your next fight. And then we got Open Palms MMA in the room saying the nerds, the fighting nerds. That is a beautiful looking pit bull that you got in that picture there. Hey, you guys, we did it. We did an hour and a half here for free on YouTube. If you want to support me and help me out, hit that thumbs up button. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Leave me a comment down below. And if you really, really want to support your Uncle Weezy, while you're also supporting your gambling habit, link to my odd shopper probability stats and content package is in the description of this video. I give out this stats sheet to my members every week. It has a prop betting model that you see here. It has an over-under betting model that you see here. It has matchup stats that you see here that are not only matched up fighter to fighter, but also against the divisional averages. So you could see, not just how they compare to each other, but whether they're above or below average for the division in any category that we have here. We got the individual fighter stats where you can look at all of a fighter's stats, including their DraftKings, FanDuel, Prize Picks, and Underdog have the same scoring system now. So, and then you got their individual data by fight, pre-UFC stuff. You get the fight write-ups. You get access to my Discord. You get access to all my track bets, and then you get access to, and I don't think a lot of people understand that I actually do this. And every week, on YouTube, there's videos, there's Balls Deep Breakdowns, which is 2 to 2.5 hours of a full card breakdown. There's Probability, where we go through fight by fight and use my betting models and my stylistic reads for the fights to find the best plus EV bets of the week. And then we list them all here on the Probability show notes. So if you want to be a part of the community, $25 a month, it's going to give you access to an entire pile of UFC information and stats, content, write-ups, everything that you could possibly imagine. And that $25 a month is what fuels my ability to come here and put out this content for free every week on YouTube. So if you want to support your Uncle Weezy, click that link in the description of the video. Join up for $25 a month. Join the Discord and get access to an incredible amount of information that's going to help make you a better UFC gambler. We got Kurz in the room saying, good show, let's cash. We got my guy Call Me Husker in the room, said just came in at the end, but oi, appreciate you, my man. And I'm going to get going. It is time for me to enjoy the rest of my weekend here. And then tomorrow, what's on the calendar is stacking cashed tickets like flapjacks for UFC Paris. So enjoy the fights. Let's cash all the bets. And then we'll get ready for next week, which is going to be UFC Noche in San Antonio, Texas. So good luck, everybody. We'll see you next week. Let's stack cashed tickets like flapjacks for UFC Paris. And hit that thumbs up and subscribe on your way out. Please consider joining the Odds Shopper. Have a great rest of your weekend, everybody. Take care.